Hey, so I have to make this super quick this morning, but I just hung out with my neighbors last night. It's kind of like a healing session for them. She started her chemotherapy. They put in a radiation pump, and that was the first night last night. But the night before, her husband had an extreme panic attack, and I'm assuming because he is very worried about her and stuff that's going on. Sorry about my mess. Life is lifing. But anyways, so as we were talking, we're listening to music, hanging out, and he was late coming home and she was worried. Well, he just looked really beat up and run down and overwhelmed. And he started talking about his panic attack and how bad he felt that he kept her up and he should have been more considerate. And I was like, we all have issues we have to deal with, right? And I said, I remember I had a panic attack. There's actually a video in one of my videos of me sharing that panic attack. But like I told him, I said, I can probably tell you why you're having those panic attacks. And he asked why, and he just sat there with his head down, and his wife just kept. And in the end, I said, I'm sorry, that wasn't me. It was kind of channeled through me. And I said, give me a hug. If I cross the line with you, I'm sorry. And he said, no, you're good. And she actually told me that he slept like a rock last night. He was so concerned with needing his medicine to be able to sleep, and he didn't have his medicine. But she said, and I think him sleeping had everything to do with you. So I want to remind you that if you're going through anxiety, depression, panic attacks, those heavy feelings in your life, a lot of it is because you're pulled, Like I told him last night, you're trying to please everybody. At work, you have so much to do. At home, you have so much to do. You don't get to do anything for yourself. You don't get to even take the time to breathe when you need to breathe. And he said, well, I can't just call in and take off on a Tuesday and spend the day. And I was like, honestly, you can. You have to start putting yourself first. This man works from 5 a.m. till about 6 or 7 every night. And I'm talking 6, sometimes 7 days a week. Normally 6, and then goes to church on Sunday. That's a lot of hours. That's a lot of having to put yourself out there. And as parents, a lot of you understand what I'm talking about. When you have that first shift being your job, and that second shift when you come home and you have to take care of your house. I've had to do that for a long time. And it takes a lot of prayer. It takes a lot of, please help me keep making it through this. Please give me the courage to continue on. Please. It's almost like begging in a way, to where it's like, I can't do this on my own. But when we open up and say, I can't do this on my own, please help me, new pathways will begin to appear. But like I told him last night, your ego is battling with your spirit, because your ego is like, we have to do this. And your spirit is like, there's a different way. And it's this internal struggle that eventually comes out as anxiety, depression, panic attacks, fear. Eventually that turns into anger and hostility. And that's because we're trying to do everything on our own. That's where we have to look to the higher power and say, okay, I believe there's more to life than what I'm doing. Please show me my path. Because we all have something we're good at, something we're meant to share with the world. I had them cracking up last night, and they said, you missed your calling. I said, what's that? And they were like, being a comedian. You should have definitely been a comedian. And she even told me last night that was, she needed that. She needed to not focus on the reality of what she's going through right now. And if you can be that for somebody else, please be that for somebody else, because life comes full circle. At some point when you need that, someone's going to be there for you in your moment, one of your greatest moments of need. Because one thing we forget is we all age. Maybe we don't forget that, but it comes up on you. You might not ever think you'll get sick because you don't have the time to consider that you could get sick because you're busy working, you know? We work through life. That's like me with going to the doctor. I'm like, I'm not going to the doctor. I've been in herbal medicine for so long and taking care of my household with homeopathic remedies that I don't care for white coats. I'm like, they're all just practicing. That's why it's called practicing medicine. But it gets to a point sometimes we do need to go to them. That's hard for me to admit, but I know I probably need to at this point. I haven't been in 15 years. But I am so stubborn. I'm like, if I keep refusing, then there's never a diagnosis because the brain is very intelligent. Once the brain knows, the body knows, then the body shuts down. And I'm like, nope, oblivion is bliss. I just keep being oblivious. But anyways, getting sidetracked away from the concept that if you're going through heavy emotions right now, just hang on. Life will get better. You know, you can sit here and heal yourself. I think people forget that we have the capabilities of healing ourselves, that it comes through a higher power, prayer, meditation. When we ask for that guidance, we have to sit in the silence to get the direction. And it's awesome, yes, to hear that somebody slept better than they do with their medicine just from a conversation. And sometimes all people need is to be heard and seen. And all I did was tell him exactly what I see. I know them personally from being around them and going through their journey of life with them. But don't let life get so heavy that you find yourself needing Xanax. And I know a lot of people do rely on medicine to try to cope with what they're going through. And it's sad. We have to depress our system that's overstimulated because our world is very stimulating, right? I get sensory overload at work a lot. And it's difficult because I have to still smile and, yes, okay, and do what I need to do. Like I told a friend of mine, my brain is normally working nonstop. I don't know if that's an Aquarian trait. Even my neighbor said last night, man, you categorize things way different than a regular human being. And I was like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. But he said, you're a very unique individual. That was us talking about politics and women running the country. And anyways, let's say I swayed somebody to kind of believe differently that we do need a woman president. We do need somebody that can stand up and try a different way. So anyways, we'll not veer that way in this conversation. But just sending you tons of love and light. If you're going through it, keep going. Because, you know, roses grow best when it comes growing out of the dung. So just don't give up. You got it. I promise. Love and light.